I don't know if you use ChatGPT. Do you use ChatGPT?
Yes.
Yeah, so how do we train ChatGPT? Yeah, majority data training ChatGPT underlying the training of the ChatGPT come from the web, from the internet. Right. But internet, yeah, there's, when people were still debating when the scaling law was going to expire. You know scaling law? Have you heard about scaling law in the AI, the famous one? Yeah, so you must know that. So all this frenzy about large language model or large foundation model because of scaling law. Yeah, scaling law is so famous because it says the best way to achieve artificial general intelligence is to increase the number of parameters, increase your model size, increase your computation power. Your performance of your model will go linearly. This is called scaling law. That's the most efficient way, not efficient way, most easy way to reach super intelligence. You know what I mean? Because you don't have to worry about inventing another model. So you just increase your computation power, increase your model size, and your performance automatically increase. Yeah. But we all know that linear increase has to come to an end at some point. Because you must have heard about Moore's law, right? So Moore's law in the 1960s say that every 18 months, Intel, the speed of the CPU will double. Have you heard about that? So Moore's law has governed the CPU for how many years? For nearly half a century. And eventually it stopped. Because you can't double that every 16 years after a long time, right? So the scaling law is still the same. We don't know when it will stop. Yeah, everybody was thinking about when it will stop, and suddenly we found out, or at least the ChatGPT, the chairman of ChatGPT. Who's the chairman of ChatGPT? The OpenAI. Yeah, who's the CEO of OpenAI? Yeah, Sam Altman. Sam Altman said, they plan to run out GPT 5.0, right? And it's been a long time. They delay again. Yeah, the reason is what? Because ChatGPT running out of training data. The entire internet has been running out of training data. They've trained on everything you can find on the internet, almost. Right? Now the problem is that where does the majority of data coming from? Are they in the internet? Those data in the internet are mostly typed by humans, right? Yeah, you might copy and paste, but they have to be typed firstly by some people. Yeah, and how quickly you can type message into the internet. So that shouldn't be the majority of the source. Yeah, actually the majority of the data is actually coming from where? From the sensors. Isn't that right? If you drive an autonomous car, yeah, these days, a lot of vehicles now is electrical vehicles. We're heading to the direction of autonomous driving. Yeah, each vehicles now have hundreds of sensors, and they're collecting data in the background, right? And also the cameras, security cameras, variable sensors. Those sensors generate a huge amount of data, and that's what we should be using to train artificial intelligence model, rather than just the data on the internet, right? So this is why we say AI can't live without IoT. Yeah. On the other hand, can IoT live without AI? Can the sensors live without AI? Of course they can. If they're without AI, all the sensors, what they do, they're sending data to the internet, right? Yeah. But thinking about what's the problem, yeah, if you send all the data to the cloud, what's going to happen? If you just collect the data and send them all to the cloud. Now imagine some critical applications like autonomous driving, advanced manufacturing. Yeah. So by the time you detected the previous car, was slowing down, you want to brake, right? You send the data to the cloud, and the cloud after 30 seconds, yeah, and tell you stop, then you will never have a chance to kill it because you already crashed. Yeah. Whoever the driver is will go to heaven to listen to the instructions in the class. Yeah. So this says in many, many critical situations, in particular real-time applications, there's no point sending all the data to the cloud, because cloud might be powerful, but you don't own cloud. None of us own cloud. All right, it's shared resources. So there's a computational competition, right? And second, there's a bandwidth issue. Yeah, any data sending to the cloud that requires bandwidth. Yeah, so you might be thinking you use 5G, yeah, or even 6G, but again, the problem is that 5G is so slow because you don't own the 5G. When a lot of people use 5G, yeah, that's a problem. So so what's the best way of doing things? The best way of doing things is trying to process data as much as possible at the edge. So this is the concept so-called edge computing. Have you guys heard about that? Edge computing.
Yes.
And do you know this concept? Who proposed this concept? This technology. Edge computing. It was proposed by Cisco back in 2012. In our industry, in the entire discipline of IT, computer science, telecommunication, and altogether, as far as I'm aware of, all the other technologies are proposed by academics, professors, only for the exception of edge computing. You tell me which technology was invented by company. Internet wasn't, right? It was by academics. Yeah, deep learning, that's Jeffrey Hinton, right? Telecommunication, what else? Yeah, Python. Yeah, everything else was invented by academics. Yeah, and edge computing is the only concept I can think of that was first proposed by industry and become the mainstream except by academics. So why is it so important about edge computing? And the company, by the way, is Cisco. Yeah, so Cisco's contribution to both internet and the Internet of Things is very, very substantial. Yeah. So coming back to the topic. So what's the point of why is it so important to process data make a decision as much as possible by edge? Yeah. So this is making the process much easier, much quicker, right? So you can deal with the real-time applications. And this days, local applications real time. Like I know when China is shifting advanced manufacturing capability to Vietnam, a lot of those factories are automated factories. They're called dark factory. Do you know what does it mean? There's no light. It's all condensed by the sensors. Making an iPhone involves more than 3,000 steps on the assembly line. Each steps, some of the fastest one taking a few milliseconds. Yeah, there's no time to send in the data to the cloud. You just, this is how soon. Every 30 seconds, the factory in Foxconn, a factory in Zhengzhou is making an iPhone. So within the 30 seconds, you have to finish 3,000 steps. And those factories have they have no lights because there are no people in it. Yeah, so you have to collect the data, or use my sensor collect the data, and those data are processed right on the sensors without sending to the cloud. So that's why it's so important plan. Yeah, and this is exactly the reason that November last year, Apple redefined artificial intelligence. Do you know what's Apple's artificial intelligence? Apple redefined AI to what? Apple's version of AI is what? AI stands for artificial intelligence. But in Apple's version, what AI stands for? Apple intelligence. Still the same as AI. But what is the fundamental difference? Why Apple redefined artificial intelligence into Apple intelligence? The same acronym. But there's a fundamental difference. Traditional AI sits in the cloud, all right? But Apple's AI sits on here. Yeah, because Apple sells devices based on what? Based on security. Yeah, based on privacy. That's why people are paying for it. It's premium, right? It's the most expensive, mobile phone in the market. Why would you, buy Apple rather than Samsung? Yeah, or anything else, right? Because most people think, yeah, this is privacy and security you're paying for, right? Now, imagine you've got thousands of pictures you've taken on your mobile phone. You've got thousands, tens of thousands of, emails, taken, in your devices. Now you want to ask Apple AI, I want you to generate a new image for me. Or find out from all my emails, find out what I should be doing, what's the most urgent task for me to do in this week. In the traditional AI, you would have to send all the data to the cloud. Do you like that? So this is why Apple redefined AI. And nobody likes the data goes to the cloud. And everything has to be stayed on the mobile phone devices. So this is why you need Apple. Yeah, you need AI directly running on the device. So that's why the world is heading from traditional cloud AI into the edge AI. It's also called edge intelligence. Whether it's called AI, Apple intelligence, or edge intelligence, it doesn't matter. Yeah, what matters is that the two things I want you to keep that in mind. AI can't live without IoT because there's no more data if there's no sensors. And second, IoT can't live without AI because if you don't make a decision on the device, you end up sending all your precious data to the cloud. And there's a security issue, there's bandwidth issue, there's computational issues, right? Next one. All right, so this is against this background. So we built a Cisco Electrical Center for AI and IoT. So we are very proud of the first one kind in the world. Yeah, it's the only one that's kind in Australia. Yeah. So we have quite a few, 25 members, including 3 professors and 3 associate professors, senior lecturers, etc. And also postdoc and PhD student, of course. We work at the intersection between AI and IoT. So things like digital twin, cyber physical system, CPS, which is another word of the IoT as well, edge for computing, etc. Yeah, so this is what we call like intersection between AI and IoT. So it's all about using IoT to collect the data and then using AI to analyze the data from the IoT. And the center has been very successful since its establishment nearly 5 years ago. Yeah, we're getting lots of grants from Australian government, but also we I think it's very important for us. It's the industry-sponsored research center, so we do a lot of applied projects to showcase our research impact. Next one. And the center is supported by Cisco. That means we have access to a network. Cisco is the biggest company, one of the biggest ICT companies in the world. Yeah. Anybody knows the headquarters of Cisco? Where Cisco is headquartered? Oh. The head office. Anybody knows that? Now let me ask you a question in a different way. Which city is the heart of American innovation?
Silicon Valley.
Yeah, Silicon Valley is a nickname. What's the city name? Silicon Valley is not a city name.
Yeah.
It's a description. Yeah. The city is actually called what? San Jose.
San Jose.
Yeah, so the region from San Francisco to San Jose, there's a highway called 101 highway connecting San Francisco to Cisco. To San Jose. In this highway 101, you will see all the large companies lined up on the both sides of the roads, like Intel, like Nvidia. Yeah, Cisco headquarters is about 5 minutes driving from Nvidia. Yeah, like Apple. Yeah, so that's the heart of the world's innovation. And also, alongside, not far away, that's a university called, you must know, Stanford University. So that's, so when you think about Silicon Valley, yeah, that's not Silicon Valley. Inside the United States, nobody calls Silicon Valley. It's San Jose. Yeah, but San Jose is a relatively small city. Yeah, so I think that the general Silicon Valley refers to that corridor from San Francisco all the way. The highway is about 100 kilometers. Yeah, so like Apple is not exactly in San Jose, but still part of the innovation map. Yeah. So this is all the largest company in the world are lined up. Most of the ICT company like that. So Cisco bring to us is not only just like a sponsorship of my chair. By the way, being a Cisco chair, it means my salary is not paid by the Chop University. My salary is paid by Cisco. Yeah. So each year I'll spend like roughly 1 month or two, in Cisco headquarters in Silicon Valley, as you call it, and I call it San Jose. And they've got a big campus in San Jose. So they build out vast national industry innovation network in the footprint. Yeah. So and also some alliance between industry and university. So we are one of the founding university, La Trobe University, and Cisco is one of the founding industry partners. So there's Intel, in there as well. And also, most recently, Cisco announced a major partnership with Nvidia. So, so Nvidia has joined this network. Do you know why Cisco partnership with Nvidia? Why these two companies are complementary? Let me ask you a question. Why Nvidia needs Cisco? Have you guys used the GPU? What GPU do you use?
Nvidia.
What Nvidia GPU you use?
So maybe it's to 2080.
2080?
Yeah.
You wouldn't use Cisco if you use 2080. Yeah. The large language model, foundation model, what do they train on? Like Sam Altman, like ChatGPT, what do they train on?
So maybe the data, right?
Sorry?
So maybe they use, something they use the information, the data to train.
No, it's about the GPU. Those large language models, like Grok, Grok? Yeah. Elon Musk built a GPU cluster, how many do you know that? 50,000 GPU together. H100. Those enterprise GPU. When you have a single GPU, you don't need Cisco. Because you process everything alone on a single GPU. But if you got multiple GPU together, like 50,000, what do you need to do? You need to interconnecting all your GPUs, right? You need to distribute your tasks, of training tasks, among all the GPU, because that's the advantage of GPU, right? This question goes back to the fundamental difference between GPU and CPU. Why Nvidia becomes #1 and Intel almost become bankrupt? Because CPU does process in sequence, one by one. But GPU can process tasks in parallel, simultaneously. So when you have a large training job, you want to distribute, of course, all the entire GPU, right? And you need to exchange data between GPUs. And that's for one. That's called internetworking. And it just happens the GPU changes the speed so fast, so the internetworking between the GPUs needs to be super fast. And there's only one company can do that, and that's Cisco. Previously, Nvidia used a technique called NVLink. Have you heard about the NVLink? To connecting all the GPUs together. But there's a bottleneck. So once you grow that further, like the most recent Blackwell GPU, and you need something higher. And Cisco is inventing something called quantum switching. It's lightning fast. So, I think the advantage of working with some of the best companies in the world is that we have an advantage in access to huge network. And also, Cisco supported, my center with real money, and not only just money, but a real cutting edge equipment. For example, the WebEx hologram, the next generation video conference system. So let me ask you another question. Which was the first video conference system using? What was the first video conference system in the world?
Zoom.
Well, maybe, well, what are you using now? What do you use in Vietnam for video conferencing?
Google Meet,
Google Meet,
Zoom,
Zoom,
Microsoft.
Skype, or Skype. Skype just stopped.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
Skype is not a video conference. It's like messenger system. And so that wasn't, a video conference, because you mentioned it's like a, WhatsApp. Of course, you can use WhatsApp for video call as well, but the primary purpose wasn't for that. Yeah. So what was the first one? Yeah, Google Meet in Australia, we primarily use, particularly La Trobe University, we use Zoom and Teams. But none of them was the first one. The first one is what? The first one is Cisco WebEx. Have you heard about that? Yeah. The Zoom, you're probably very familiar with Zoom. The CEO, the founder of Zoom, used to lead the WebEx team in Cisco. And he left, about 10 years ago, he left the Cisco WebEx. He was heading up the Cisco WebEx team. He left the Cisco and built up his own company called Zoom. And then you see many of them, like Google Meet. I think Google Meet is one of the non-popular ones. Yeah, Teams is another popular ones. And Cisco's response to the competition of Zoom is next generation WebEx hologram. Do you know hologram? Heard about hologram? Have you seen the Star Wars?
yes,
You push a button, the person appears in the ear. Right? There's no way you can tell that person is just standing right in front of you or 1,000 miles away from you. Do you know what I mean? So that's called hologram. Unless you touch the person, you have no idea where the person is. Yeah. So Cisco next generation WebEx hologram. Yeah, this is a prototype. There's only 5 prototypes in the world. 3 of them in the Silicon Valley or San Jose. Yeah, 1 in Singapore. The last one, the 5th one, is in my lab. It's Cisco Lateral Center for AI and IoT. If you go there, you will see there's a 12 cameras in the array. You sit in the middle, yeah, and those 12 cameras will render you 3D real time. And there's behind this screen, there's 4 GPU dedicated Nvidia chipset to render you 3D. Yeah, so when the outside put on the goggle, they can see your face in 3D. Yeah, so that's something very, very unique. And this is first, as far as I know, the first real-time implementation of hologram communication. Next one. All right, so so the reputation of that, the center was not only just recognized, within Australia, we also recognize it international. Yeah. Anyone of you heard about IEEE? Do you know IEEE? The Institute of Electrical Engineering, IEEE, the world's largest professional society. So everything we do in our discipline, whether you study engineering or study computer science or study IT, this is our godfather. Do you understand? Yeah, that all the best technology, all the best standards, all the best publications, all coming from IEEE. Yeah, if you haven't heard about that, remember this name. Yeah, this is the single most authoritative standardization body in the world. So when IEEE decided to propose the annual Congress on AIoT, the artificial intelligence of things, basically it's a combination of AI and IoT. There was huge competition between us and primarily in the North America and Europe. Yeah, so competing with some of the best universities in the world, in the North America. Yeah, so I'm very glad. Yeah, so because of reputation of my center, yeah, the IEEE headquarters. Do you know where the headquarters is? New Jersey, close to New York. Yeah, New York City. 1 hour by train from New York. Yeah, so they decided to give it to Melbourne, to the Cherokee University. So we hosted in July last year. Yeah, so this is how we see the delegation from 14 countries. The first time, annual congress on such important, topic, such a furious international competition. And I said to my team, this is a recognition internationally about our status in this field. And we literally, we see some very interesting. There were 3 professors from Tokyo. They didn't know each other. They met in my, the Cherokee University campus, and they're shaking hands with each other. Yeah. So that was some funny moments. Yeah. Next. All right. So that's one. Yeah. The interdisciplinary. Yeah. So I'm the founding director for that one, and also I'm very proud to, in July, September last year, I built another center. So this time is different. This time is government center. It's an Australian center. Yeah. So it's named after Australia. Yeah. So that's like a national level center. Australian Center for AI in Medical Innovation. So this is future growth engine. The Cisco Center is about technology, AI and IoT. But this one is about specifically applying AI to medical innovation. So ACAMI, we call it ACAMI. So ACAMI is a partnership between La Trobe University and the Victoria government. So it's no longer a La Trobe Center. It's funded by the Victoria government. So it's a world-first university innovation center specializing in the intersection of applying AI to medical innovation. So do you know, people used to say AI assisted. Have you heard about this term? AI empowered innovation. But I don't like it. Yeah, I think in the future it should be the AI-driven innovation. Do you know the difference between AI-assisted and AI-empowered medical innovation? Do you know the difference with the AI-driven? So when you say AI-assisted, that means AI is always playing a secondary role. All right? You are helper. Yeah, but this is not your main job. Right? You are not the master. Yeah, you are a server. So that's why you call it AI assisted. Yeah. But when you say AI-driven medical innovation, that means we are equal. Do you know what I mean? So the AI will be as important as medical research. Medical research in Australia, I don't know, in Vietnam, is absolutely the jewel on the crown. Yeah, there's no field, not at all, compared to medical research in terms of research funding. Right? So the entire, all the other disciplines adding together, engineering, computer science, pharmacy, anything adding together, the entire funding is less than 1/5 of medical funding. The same as in the United States. Yeah. You know, United States they have an NSF, yeah, National Science Foundation, which fund all the disciplines. But they also have an NIH, National Institute of Health, which only funds medical research. And the NSF, the size of the NSF, is less than 1/3 of the NIH. And the medical research, you can also apply for NSF as well. So you can imagine. This is just medical government funding. Yeah, there's all the other philanthropic funding, like a Bill Gates Foundation, they're all medical. So, there's no single discipline in Australia or in the Western world that is medical research. Maybe in Asian countries you think AI is good, there's a lot of funding for AI engineering, etc. Yeah, but not in the developed countries. Yeah, the investment in AI, even in the United States, nothing can get into medical research. Because what? Because the reason is very simple. Do you know why? Countries like America and UK and Australia spend so much money on medical research. Why? The reason is very simple. Because it doesn't matter if you're rich or you're poor. Everybody wants to what? Everybody wants to live longer and healthier, right? Is that right? Doesn't matter if you're rich or poor. Yeah. But other discipline is different. Yeah, if you're not rich, I don't have to use. I'm a farmer. I don't need AI, right? Isn't that right? Yeah, AI is not necessity. But health is not. Doesn't matter if you live on the farmland or you live in the big city. You get the same sickness, right? Yeah. So this is why the reason. Yeah. So and this is why we're proud of. Last year we proposed this is what the AI-driven medical research center, and we received $10 million from the state government, and I mentioned another 10, almost 10. So making a $20 million center. All right, vision of academy, operates in the intersection of AI and medical innovation. And by 2030, we seek to become an international significant and commercially sustainable and growing center for AI and medical innovation. So this is important, commercially sustainable. This is a huge challenge for any research center. International or significant, that's easy. For the Cisco Large Center, after 5 years, I can say that. If you ask some friends, in the United States, they will say, well, we heard about that one. In Australia, everybody, in my discipline, in the computer science, they know. Our Professor Wisham is in, his center with Cisco is best one in AI and IoT, right? We're very proud in Australia. If you measure the amount of funding and the industry's collaboration, partnership, we are absolutely #1 in the AI space in Australia. You might think University of Sydney or Melbourne, a better one, right? They may be the rank better than us, QS ranking, but when it comes to AI, I can tell you, only last month, the deputy head of computer science department of the University of Melbourne coming to my center to learn our experience. And that's the University of Melbourne, the first and the best ranked university in Australia. And yet, they're coming to my university, my center, to learn what we do. Because they can't be #1 in every discipline, right? There's always some discipline which doesn't have a job done. And this is one of them. All right, next one. So being a government-supported Australian center, it's not about just research. Research collaboration is one of things. Yeah, also we do clinical trial, AI-driven, and also we do workforce development. So that's a government requirement on us. Yeah, there's a lot of medical is a huge industry for Australia, and particularly for Melbourne, because Melbourne is called one of the 3 medical capitals in the world. The first one as well was think about medical research. Which city do you think of the most? That's Boston. Because what? Because Harvard.
Oh.
Yeah, Harvard Medical School is the best one in the world. Yeah, most pharmaceutical company all have a branch or headquarters in Boston. So that's #1. What's #2? And #3? #2 and #3 is between London and Melbourne. Yeah, in Melbourne we're very proud. Maybe London I think maybe financial capital. That's yeah. We can't compete with London on financial. Yeah, but when it comes to capital, it's hard to say who's #2. Yeah. So in the area, in Melbourne, it's called Packwell. You can see all the medical, world-renowned medical research institute, like Peter Mac, Peter Doty, ONJ, yeah, Weihai. Those all line up. Yeah. So that's one of the most vibrant, medical research centers in the world. And many of them, those medical professionals, they're scared. You know why they're scared? They're worried about their future. Because they're worried about the job will be replaced by AI. Do you know why? Because something happened last year. In October last year, 2024, the Nobel Prize for chemistry went to where? Do you know who won the Nobel Prize for chemistry? Yeah, the founders of DeepMind.
DeepMind.
The inventors of AlphaFold. Heard about DeepMind?
Yeah.
Have you? AlphaGo. Have you heard of AlphaGo?
Yes.
Yeah, AlphaGo was a product of DeepMind. The company is called DeepMind. Yeah, AlphaGo went to the front page of Science magazine. That was the first time. Yeah, machine beat human in the Go program. There's a game called Go. Have you heard about Go? Yeah, Go is a Chinese, or Japanese, I don't know, like a famous game. It's called Go. Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know if you play in Vietnam.
Yes.
The Go game.
Yes.
Oh no, it's not chess. Yeah, Chinese chess in terms of but Go is much larger. It's white and black. Yeah, so that's why it's called AlphaGo, right? So the DeepMind company, the inventor of the company, or the founder, Dennis and John won the Nobel Prize for chemistry, but their background is computer science. They knew nothing about chemistry and pharmacy. Yeah. So the reason why I remember very clearly, because on that day, on the same day, I was in National University of Singapore, NUS, Yang Lee School of Medicine. I was presenting this. Oh, what happened?
It's a rock signal.